sky and waited for the sun to come and save us. Save us from the longest night. For years I've been doing things and singing songs that don't make any sense. But if I scratch the surface just a little bit, this holiday paint is pretty thin. Look to the sky with hope and wonder. There's a star in the east to guide us home, and we are closer now than we've ever been to peace on earth and goodwill to men as we celebrate the longest
Good morning. Welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living. I'm Petra Weldes, the Senior Minister here. And today we're dedicating our service to those that have lost their life in Newtown, Hackett, on Friday, and to the children and the adult who also had a similar experience in Beijing, China, on the same day, Friday. It's actually the perfect service, Winter Solstice, to be speaking about this, bringing the light in the midst of darkness. So we're dedicating our service today to all of that, and to all of our hearts, and the hearts of all of those who are grieving and in sorrow. I'm just happy that you're here, so that we can share the burden together in community. I want to let you know that our practitioners today are Alexis, Yancey, and Christine Volkner, and the rest of our practitioners are available afterwards for a spiritual tune-up.
I'm Petra Weldes, Senior Minister of the Center for Spiritual Living in Dallas, and we're delighted that you found us here on the web. You can find our Sunday services on our website by every Wednesday. And we love that you can look at us online and explore these spiritual teachings. Feel free to explore our archives. It goes back a number of years with lots of special topics and amazing speakers. You can also sign up for our email news, My Daily Words, and my blog, Spiritual Living with Dr. Petra. If you're looking for a spiritual community, come visit us. Or if you're just in Dallas, drop on by. We'd love to give you a hug. Welcome home.
Holy, holy, holy. join us in singing I Open Up.
I invite you to go within. As we open up and let go, and let God, I absolutely know that there is nothing but God. Even in times when it seems like there is no God. In what we experienced this week, broken hearts, but somehow, some way, I know that God is in the midst. And so I just affirm our love. Our love for everyone in Newtown, Connecticut. Our love for everyone in China, in Portland, for everyone everyone who is experiencing tragedy in their lives. And I just claim and affirm they can feel that love. For I know that they have the strength of God within them. And even though their lives will not be the same, I know that the power of God is within. And I just affirm right here and right now that they are bathed in the oneness, the light and the love of God. And each minute becomes easier. For I know that is the power of God. The power to heal. Because the healing is there in the body of God. And I just claim and affirm that it flows forth. Allowing the survivors to transcend, to rise above. I know that good will come of this somehow, some way. I claim it right here and right now, knowing that God is at work. I stand in this truth. I affirm it. And in gratitude for being able to claim it and know it, I release this prayer. I release the love. In the oneness. In the pure awareness that there's absolutely nothing but God. And together we can affirm this by saying, and so it is.
So for our special music today, we have our beautiful ensemble. They're going to be singing a second Melissa Ethridge tune. Both of our songs today, solos, are from Melissa Ethridge. And they wanted to specifically dedicate this piece of music to our beloved John Strickland, whom you may know, may not know, had a stroke this week. He has been moved out of ICU into another room and is asking for a Dr. Pepper. We take that as a very good sign. So he and his wife Sharon are absent from our ensemble today, needless to say. John is one of our arrangers. He arranged the Melissa Ethridge tune specifically for our ensemble, and they wanted to dedicate this song today to him.
Tis the season of change. Season of contrast.
So here we are to celebrate the winter solstice, to light that light. The winter solstice is one of our most ancient traditions. So many of the holiday traditions that we celebrate in our culture are rooted deeply, deeply in this ancient, earth-based indigenous tradition. If you can imagine, hundreds of thousands of years ago, tens of thousands of years ago, the shamans taking their villagers to the fire as the nights got longer and longer and the days got shorter and shorter. Until that final night in the north, way north, where perhaps the sun barely rose. And in the middle of that longest night, they lit the bonfire. In defiance of the dark, in affirmation of the light, to pray that the sun would return. And each year when the sun returned the next day, there was great rejoicing that their prayers had been answered, that the light had returned. And that tradition has come down to us as our Christmas tree. I don't know if you realize that we have on our altar here, we have our Jewish roots, we have our Christian roots, we have our African American roots, and this is our winter solstice roots. This is our earth-based pagan roots. We call it a Christmas tree. It would actually more appropriately be called a winter solstice tree. That's how deep that tradition is. And the bringing in of the holly and the ivy. How many of you know that beautiful song, The Holly and the Ivy? And the evergreen and the berries and each of these symbols has been given a Christian meaning, a Christian symbolism. But that was because they were wanting to bring in the earth-based, indigenous, Wiccan, and pagan people into the Christian religion, and they brought those symbols forward. They actually have much older meaning. Bringing in the boughs. When we sing Deck the Halls with Boughs of Holly, we are participating in the most ancient of rituals. The bringing in of the evergreen in the middle of the dead of winter, bringing in the evergreen and decorating our homes to celebrate life in the midst of the winter. We bring in the holly with the bright red berries and the cardinal with the bright red against the winter snow to see the burst of life, and that life is still present. Life is still available to us. And so we bring them into our homes and we decorate to remember. Except that we probably don't need to remember that the sun is going to rise the next day, do we? Right? We're not those ancient people. With a click of a mouse button, you can Google, you can Google winter solstice and you get this very detailed picture of the earth moving around the sun and the declination of the axis and exactly when the time is, the right thing is the moment, and it's all there, and you can have it in color and black and white and all the scientific information you would ever need. And I don't think any of us pray to hope that the sun is going to rise the next day, do we? Actually, no, it's going to, because we have all the scientific evidence. We completely understand what's happening and why the days are getting longer. The nights are getting longer, the days are getting shorter. We understand all of that. And yet, as we had the experience of this week, and as we may be having in our own personal lives, there are moments of darkness, aren't there? There are days when the light feels dim. There are days when it feels as though the darkness is larger, perhaps even growing larger. And so that's one of the things that we do this holiday season. You know, I was reflecting on it. Why is it that it feels like during the holidays people are somehow a little bit nicer to each other? Everything's a little bit sweeter. Everything's a little bit kinder. There's something precious about the time and the moments and the magic. And I thought, well, just think about it. Just think about the music is completely different. The messages of the things that we're hearing is completely different. We're overtaken by these ancient rituals. And we don't always realize it, but they are reminding us of deep and profound truths. So, Lainey, if you would bring up our title slide here, Birthing a New Light, Creating a New World. I actually had a much more exuberant and enthusiastic talk planned for today, since we are moving into the Winter Solstice and the birth 2012. And then Friday happened. 22 children gunned down, 7 adults in Newtown, Connecticut. 20 children and 1 adult sent to the hospital with knife wounds in Beijing, China, right outside an elementary school, just as it was happening in the United States. 2 sides of the globe. China has very strict gun control laws, so while the children were tragically hurt, none of them were killed. Yeah, a little bit of darkness, a lot of brokenheartedness, pain and sorrow and anger and why? Questions, lots of questions. Why? And so here we are. Here we are, given the opportunity in the moment. Where are we going to go with it? What are we going to do with it? And so this is the opportunity that we have to light a light. To light a light in the darkness. You know, there's that beautiful phrase that comes to us from the teachings of Jesus. It might be Paul, sorry, from the Bible. I do know that. And the light was light a light, and the darkness comprehendeth not. I'm pretty sure that's Paul. The darkness does not comprehend light. It doesn't fight back. What happens when you light a candle? The darkness simply disappears. So we can find ourselves in this moment in despair, in anger, wondering what went wrong, and asking good questions. And we can light our bonfire. And we can stand in that place and we can affirm the light. And we can affirm that God is present. And we can affirm that truth is unfolding. And we can affirm that somehow we make a declaration that good will come of this. We don't need to know what it is, but by God we can demand it of the universe. We can demand it of the universal law of cause and effect that says we set a cause in motion that good must come of this. Perhaps the good will be never again. Perhaps that will be the good. My mother, as I've told you before, she wrote a book about her growing up in Germany during the war and learning later, of course, about the Holocaust. And one of the things that she writes in that book, and she writes, the greatest evil in the world is when good men and women sit aside and do nothing. Light a light. We get to light a light. And when we do that, we're actually participating in a different way. I found this on, Edward Viljoen had posted this on his Facebook page, and I've reposted it on mine and on the CSL page, from Mr. Rogers. When I was a boy and I would see scary things in the news, my mother would say to me, look for the helpers. You will always find people who are helping. To this day, especially in times of disaster, I remember my mother's words, and I am always comforted by realizing that there are still so many helpers, so many caring people in this world. What are we going to focus on? Are we going to focus on the one person who perpetrated this crime and this tragedy in Connecticut, on the one guy who went berserk in China? Or are we going to focus on all the people who rallied around to help? All the teachers who were there to save and support their kids? Are we going to focus on the conversations that are brought forward because of this? Are we going to focus on how can we support, help, love, bring light? Will we be one of the helpers? Whether in doing this or in consciousness, will we be one of the helpers? That's us lighting a light. Lighting a light. One of the greatest examples of this, as you may recall, is Mothers Against Drunk Drivers, right? You know, I love her name. She's from Irving, Texas, Cindy Lightner. I think that's great. Isn't that great? Cindy Lightner from Irving, Texas. Her 13-year-old in the mid-'80s was killed by a drunk driver. And I can imagine she grieved desperately, and I can imagine that her family was struck hard by the blow. But unlike other families that fell apart because of this, she actually utilized her fear and her anger into righteous indignation and said, never again, and created Mothers Against Drunk Drivers. She's the reason all of us wear seatbelts today. My son can't even imagine getting into a car without putting on a seatbelt. It's so automatic for him. Tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of lives have been saved just because we wear our seatbelts. Because one woman used her grief, turned her anger toward something that was of value. Never again. She lit a light. She took that. She transmuted it, transformed it into something that was of value. Rather than spending her days in despair over the loss of her daughter and in anger over the person who ran her down and drove off. We can light a light. Now, do you see, sometimes it seems to me we get into this positive, practical spirituality and we think, well, you know, I'm going to meditate every day and I'm going to do my affirmations and I'm going to be a really good person and I'm going to drink my wheatgrass or whatever it is, and nothing bad will ever happen to me again. I don't want to affirm that anything bad will ever happen to any of us, but life does happen. Now, what we know to be true is that the 90% of the stuff that we worry about and are afraid of and concerned of that will never happen, only happens in our minds, right? We actually learn how to let go of that. We stop living in this perpetual fear that our committee is creating in the back of our consciousness. And we actually discover that we are happy, healthier, saner, and more joyous in our life. But that 10% of stuff that happens, like, it does really actually happen. People do die. People lose their jobs. We stub our toe. We break a leg. Stuff actually does happen. The 10% that's real, that's really real, and that's not just us going off on some tangent of worry and fear. So we can't promise that darkness will never touch our lives. But what we can promise, what we can do is with our spiritual teachings, with our spiritual principles, we can find a new way to walk through it. We can find a new way to engage in it. We can find a way to be with it that allows us to feel our feelings, be brokenhearted, feel our grief, feel our rage, feel our outrage, and not be lost in despair. To not fall into hopelessness, to not fall into, oh my God, it's just getting worse and worse and worse, and to start telling the story about how bad everything is. We can actually use our tools and our principles to focus on the helpers, to focus on what is moving, what is happening. You know, the UN has done this fabulous study not too many years ago. They did this amazing study, and believe it or not, our world is more peaceful and safer than it has ever been. Ever. Because do you know that the kind of thing that happened on Friday, both in China and in the US, is the kind of thing that 300, 400, maybe 500 years ago, all the way back to before recorded history, was common reality for most people. That's how 95% of the people lived. Their lives were of no value to the rulers, to the kings. They had no modern medicine. They had no way of dealing with the tragedies of whether it was weather or, but most importantly, that kind of constant physical trauma, whether it was beatings, whether it was the rape of women, the girls being left out as infants to be taken off by the animals, whatever it is, whatever it was, that was happening to 95% of the people on the face of the planet. So let me tell you that it is good news that we're outraged by this. It is good news that we say, no, this is not okay. This is not an okay way for people to be treated, whether it's in the United States or in China. This is not okay. This is good news. And the fact that it made the news means that it is so unusual that we are shocked and outraged. We live in one of the most peaceful times. We live in the most peaceful time we have ever experienced. Are we focusing on that? Are we lighting that light? Or are we allowing the darkness to overcome us and pull us in as if it had power of its own? As if it could fool us into believing that that's the way it is. No, my friends, it's not the way it is. That's an anomaly. And it should be an anomaly. And we should do everything in our power to continue making it more and more and more of an anomaly. Less and less and less acceptable. Less and less and less something that we will tolerate. Not because people are bad and wrong, but because there are ways of behaving that do not express the God presence of ourselves and of the God presence that we see in each other. I read an interesting article yesterday. They've done a lot of studies on these kinds of mass killings, particularly around school children. 9 times, it's always been a man. It's never been a woman. It's always been a man. They all have the same psychological profile. They all have deep-seated psychological issues. Perhaps we need to think about that as a society and a culture. How much of our input that we receive generates fear, anger? How much of our lives are wound up by stress? And now, somebody who has a small amount of mental instability and has no way of taking care of that, it is a recipe for tragedy. Until some of these people become they come into the eye of the law and become criminals, they don't have the help they need. Why is that? Do you see, when we look at these events, when we look at these circumstances, it's so easy to start blaming and pointing fingers. And yet what we know is that underneath there's a deeper cause. There's a deeper cause that we can bring to the surface and ask ourselves, how do we light a light? How do we shine a light onto this deeper cause, bring it forward so that we can heal it, change it, and say never again? So that we can bring light into the situation. Gandhi was a wonderful example of this. I love this photograph where doesn't he just look like he's got you fixed in his eye? Bring the light. Seek the change. Be the light. Seek the change. Find those causes. Be a part of that. And if it's not in some outward fashion, what we know is even behind the outer cause, there's the internal cause, the inner cause, the cause in consciousness. Let us be a new cause in consciousness. Let us be a cause of love and of light and of peace, not of revenge, but of understanding, not of such despair and grief, but of embracing with love, lifting with love. Let us bring that new cause in consciousness forward. Let us look at how peaceful our planet is. Let us look at how safe the majority of our children, the majority of our women, at least in affluent societies, are. Let us look at this tremendous change that has happened and see it and bring light to it. And then we are the light. Gandhi says, be the change you want to see in the world. Be it in action, be it in consciousness. When was the last time you were so angry or stressed that you simply snapped at someone? Okay, multiply that with mental instability. That's what you get. And everything in between. Everything from speaking poorly to our colleagues to being unpleasant with our loved ones, to abuse in the home, to road rage, to Sandy Hook Elementary School. Let us be a part of the change by seeking to be the light to the best of our ability. That's what our spiritual tools are for. Our spiritual tools will not guarantee that stuff won't happen in our lives. Our spiritual tools and principles guarantee us that if we will stand in a spiritual place, if we will see the love, be the light, we will walk through those experiences differently. And we can come out the other side with a demand on the universe that good will come of it. Good will come of it. We don't have to know what that good is. Part of the ways that it seems to me sometimes we focus on these experiences, and well, in German it's called Schadenfreude. It's just sick. It's joy in other people's pain. And the way that we evidence it is we want all the juicy details. Like, who was this guy? What did he do? How did it happen? Where did he get into the school? What room did he go into first? Let's have all the details. And we can become obsessed with it. And we can become obsessed with it whether it's in this particular area or whether it's about, well, it's about anything. We can become so engrossed in that. And what happens is our media feeds that. And so they show us all that information, and they show the image and the name of the person, the perpetrator, over and over and over again, and we learn so much about that person. And not necessarily bad for us to learn and try to understand and seek some way to hold it. But I think it's much more important to shine the light on those we lose, on those we have lost. So these are the names of the children and the adults who lost their lives at Sandy Hook Elementary School. Six- and 7-year-olds, adults from 20 to 56. Adults killed, shielding the children. Each one of them a bright, shining red berry of life that burst forth on the scene 6 or 7 years ago. And we can pluck that red berry and we can put it on our mantelpiece in honor and acknowledgement of these beautiful lives. And we can take the evergreen bough and we can put it on our table, by our bedside, to stand in witness to the evergreen reality of each one of these lives. Oh yes, their time here was short, but their life is not. The reality of the soul and being of each one of these children, each one of these adults, is that they are already eternal, immortal beings of love and light embraced by the divine, regardless of whether they are in this body or not. And so we can We can cut our evergreen boughs, and we can honor and acknowledge the evergreen of their lives. Thank you. Regardless of the appearance of darkness, the loss, the grief that we feel. Now, do you see, we don't try to pretend that the grief and loss isn't real. What we want to do is rob it of its despair by reminding ourselves about the spiritual truth. And we want to rob it of its hopelessness by reminding ourselves that we are the bringers of light, that we are bringing the light, that we have that capacity because we are the light, each one of us. So I'd like to close with a prayer, inviting our band and music team back up here. We're going to close with a prayer, do a little treatment here. And I noticed this morning at the first service that I can't seem to pray in high-heeled shoes. So I had to take them off. And I also noticed that if we're going to do a serious treatment, I can't do it standing up. So I'd like to invite you to join me. Just inviting you to go within. Let us breathe in the sadness, the tears. Let us breathe in the breath of life that flows under those tears. Feeling the breath now, allowing it to settle us. We settle at the center of our being, right there at the bottom of the breath. Feeling ourselves settle there at the bottom of the breath, at the very center, at the very heart of our being. We simply allow ourselves to move into that place. And there we find an infinite ocean of peace. Underneath the surface of the waves of life, an infinite presence. Breathe into it now with me. There at the center of our being, which is at the center of the universe, the center of the one life, the one reality, which is the very heartbeat of creation. And whether we look and cast our minds out to the furthest galaxies, or whether we cast our minds into the infinitesimal small atom, we find the same life. And we know from all of our science that that same life is light. And we know from all of our mystics that that same life is love. And we know from all of our artists that that same life is joy. And we know from all of our parents that that same life is the beauty of life made manifest in creation. And it is at the center of all beings everywhere, of each person in this room, of each person who has been touched by these tragedies, at the center of each one of us. I take comfort in knowing this truth. Let us find solace in this reality. Let us stand firmly and consciously in this truth and look with bold and clear eyes on these children, on these adults, on these families, on this community. And let us know that life is still present, that love is still the reality, that God is ever lifting, guiding, guarding through the eyes and hands and voices and love of all the people that surround these individuals. For we can never walk through life alone. We are so connected to each other and to the one as the breath of our being. So let us turn our attention to these children, to these adults, to their families. Let us affirm the light that they have been, the blessing that they have been, that it may not be forgotten. Let us affirm the light of the community that lifts and surrounds them. Let us affirm our own light, our own willingness to be the light, to bring the light, to see the light, and therefore reveal it as the love and peace and joy that we claim. And we wrap our tender, broken hearts in the embrace of the divine. We wrap each other in the embrace of the one. And we see how the light brings us together. And it is here that truth is revealed. Love is the answer. Peace is the way. Light is the only reality. And we affirm this truth so deeply that we demand from the universe some good from these events. We demand it, we claim it, we expect it, though we may not know what it is. That these lives will have not been lost in vain. And so we say good must come of this. How grateful I am to know these truths, to share them with you, to be together in this place where we can speak truth, know love, and shed light together. How grateful I am to know that this lifts and comforts us and makes a difference in the world. How grateful I am to be held in the love of this community and in the light of the divine. Let us feel ourselves comforted and lifted and able to be the change we wish to see in the world. And so we can let it be now. We let it rest, letting our feelings be exactly what they are while we know the truth. We let it go. We let it be. And I invite you to affirm this with me as together we say, and so it is.
though I don't know who you are. And when I think about your family, I will wish upon a star. And I pray that they'll find peace someday. I pray they'll make it through. I'll light a candle in your memory to honor you. I'll light a candle for America. May we feel peace inside. We'll hold each other closer and wipe the tears we've cried. And I pray we'll bond together, and I pray that we'll pull through. I'll light a candle for America, for me and for you. And we will light the world with our love. I know that we will light the world with our love, with our love. I'll light a candle for humanity, for the good that's yet to come, as we overlook our differences and join now as one. And I pray we'll come out stronger in this world I'm dreaming of. I'll light a candle for humanity, to be a world living in love. And we will light the world with our love. Know that we can. We will light the world with our love. Every day, in every way, we will light. We will light the world with our love. I know that we can, and know that we will light. We will light the world with our love. I'll light a candle for humanity, for all the good that's yet to come, as we overlook our differences and join now as one. And I pray we'll come out stronger in this world I'm dreaming